Well, okay, viewers, here's some more on the interminable NDIS problem.
Hey, good morning, folks. Across Australia, it's Origin Day. All that coming up as well. But we begin in Canberra, where bombshell evidence has been heard at the budget estimates hearing over the misuse of NDIS funds, with revelations taxpayer money is being used on drugs.
Let's go live to 9 Federal Politics reporter Claudia Vidoljak at Parliament House. Claudia, good morning. Pressure is now mounting on the federal government.
It certainly is, Carl and Sarah. Good morning to you both. We've heard at least $2 billion in funds are being falsely claimed by participants, usually egged on by dodgy providers, using their plans to spend on expensive holidays and gifts. In one case, a $7,000 car. Another person spent $240,000 on personal expenses, including their mortgage. The revelations made by the scheme's integrity chief, who told Parliament, you name it, it's on the list, including illicit drugs like heroin, cocaine and ice.
Providers that are going out of their way to put people in harm's way, they've commoditised those participants and their plans.
More than 200 active fraud investigations are right now underway, and last week an occupational therapist in Western Sydney was sentenced to 6 years behind bars for frauding the system by more than $500,000. The federal government is adamant it is cracking down as Parliament debates new laws to tighten up the $44 billion scheme. Carl and Sarah.
It's a bit of a mess, isn't it? Thanks, Claudia.
Well, welcome back. The NDIS is in hot water again this morning after it was revealed that more than $2 billion in NDIS funding has been spent on items not in clients' packages.
Greens Senator Sarah Hanson-Young is live in Canberra for more now. Senator, good to see you. Thanks for your time this morning.
Good
morning.
We're
talking about $70,000 cars, $20,000 holidays. There's been talk as well of this money being used on drugs. It's sounding a bit like a farce.
Look, you know, the worst thing about all of this, of course, is that anyone who rips off the NDIS is actually ripping off their fellow Australians, those that desperately need this service, disabled Australians and Australian taxpayers. So, you know, it's pretty off, frankly. And I think the book needs to be thrown at anyone who is taking such disregard and frauding the system in this way. But what I am worried about is any moves that the government would use the actions of these people who clearly should have the book thrown at them as an excuse to cut funding to people who really need it. And we know the government is looking to try and find ways to cut support to NDIS recipients. And I think lots of Australians are worried about that because we all know someone who has access to this scheme, who needs access to the scheme, that desperately needs this type of support. And we shouldn't have them carrying the burden because some people, you know, providers are doing the wrong thing.
I agree. There's a lot of money going to waste, so it needs to be cleaned up. Moving on, the victim of a violent New Zealand-born criminal has become the latest to call out Labor's detainee directive. This man racked up 35 convictions for crimes including domestic violence, and he's allowed to stay in Australia.